Trying to buy a house right now feels like trying to read a broken compass. You hear reports that the market is softening, but every time you make an offer, you find yourself fighting off a dozen other people. Welcome to June 2026 in Southern Ontario. The deep bargains from earlier this year have faded, leaving buyers caught in a transitional squeeze as the market moves toward tighter conditions. Look at the GTA market snapshot. Average home prices dropped 3.9%. This usually favors buyers, but home sales jumped 9.4%. The real friction? Active listings plummeted 13.5%. Supply is shrinking faster than new buyers arrive. When you combine rising demand with shrinking inventory, the idea of a single, broad Southern Ontario market completely breaks apart. Shopping for a detached house in Oakville places you in a completely different economic reality than shopping for a downtown Toronto condo. The rules for negotiating change drastically depending on your zip code and property type. Reading regional headlines will only steer you wrong right now. To find value, you have to map your specific budget and lifestyle to the exact micro-market that fits. Let's look at how 3 distinct buyer profiles can navigate this squeeze. First up is the first-time buyer. You face a hard budget ceiling dictated by mortgage rates hovering around 6%. Your strategy comes down to a clear fork in the road. You have 2 realistic paths to achieve that market entry goal. The most immediate path is targeting the downtown condo market. This housing type performance table shows exactly why. Condo apartments are the softest major segment in the region, with average prices down 9.5% compared to last year. If you want maximum negotiating leverage to ask for a lower price or better terms, this is where you go. But that discount requires an obvious trade-off. You are giving up square footage, and you won't own the freehold land underneath you. If you refuse to share a wall and insist on a backyard, you have to look at the alternative path, the value regions. You can still secure a townhome or small detached property in places like Brampton, where the average sits around $888,000. Or you can head east to Oshawa, offering a much lower entry point near $726,000. As a first-time buyer, you must pick your compromise. Take the pricing power of an urban condo, or take on the commute to the suburbs where competition for space is steadily heating up. Next is the move-up family. You already own a starter condo, but you desperately need 3 bedrooms and a yard for the kids. Your primary barrier is right here in this data table. Premium detached homes in established areas like York or Halton remain stubbornly expensive, holding a region-wide average of over $1.36 million. To debt the space you need without blowing past your pre-approval limit, your first option is targeting the missing middle, semi-detached properties and townhouses. This route allows you to keep your family in those highly desirable, established school districts without crossing that massive detached home pricing threshold. The catch? You are walking straight into the most fiercely competitive segment of the market. Because everyone else has the exact same idea, prices for semis and townhomes actually grew 3 to 4% year over year. If sharing a wall is an absolute deal breaker, you have a second option. You have to trade location for lot size. Looking west to the Hamilton and Burlington area offers a regional average price of $659,900. It is a proven value destination for families relocating out of the core to secure a true detached home. Upsizing families are boxed in by a rigid choice. You either compromise on the building type and buy a townhome, or you compromise on the commute and move further down the highway. Finally, the yield-seeking investor. With 6% interest rates, banking on blind appreciation is a losing game. You demand cash flow today. The immediate hazard zone for cash flow is the downtown Toronto condo market. It is heavily oversupplied, and the rental yields simply do not cover the high carrying costs. Instead, you have to redirect your capital toward resilient, tenant-rich environments outside the core. Waterloo Region is a prime target. As this regional breakdown shows, it is anchored by a massive tech employment sector and world-class universities, guaranteeing a constant, stable pool of renters. Hamilton offers a similar advantage. It sits at the intersection of deep property affordability and high rental demand, making the monthly math pencil out. The operational trade-off is that you will likely be managing older housing stock, and you will be doing it outside your own immediate geographic footprint. With borrowing costs holding steady, viable cash flow in Southern Ontario exists exclusively on the geographic fringes. It demands a calculated, hands-on approach. If you are currently holding real estate and need to sell, you are navigating this exact same squeeze from the opposite direction. The biggest mistake you can make right now is assuming neighborhood prestige guarantees a quick sale, or pricing your home based on what your neighbor got back in 2021. Buyers are extremely selective, and their budgets are stretched thin. If you overprice, your property will simply sit stagnant, while buyers move on to better value down the street. The winning strategy requires ruthless objectivity. You have to invest heavily in professional presentation, and you must price your property aggressively according to live, current data. If you do that, the math works in your favor. Remember, active listings are down 13.5%. A correctly priced, well-presented home will rapidly capture that growing pool of active buyers who have very few good options. Today, simply listing a property on the MLS won't cut it. Data-driven precision is required to force a successful sale. So, what is the definitive game plan for navigating Southern Ontario through the rest of 2026? We can boil this entire market down to a single master scorecard. If you are a first-time buyer looking for a deep discount, you need to target the urban condo market to maximize your negotiating leverage. If you are a move-up buyer trying to keep your family in York or Halton, focus on semi-detached homes or townhouses, but be prepared for fast decisions and stiff competition. And if you are an investor chasing actual cash flow, you must abandon the core and look west to the stable rental pools in Waterloo and Hamilton. The days of blindly throwing darts at the Southern Ontario housing market and hitting a winner are behind us. Moving forward, surgical precision is your only advantage.